Hi, and welcome to the NFPA LiNK YouTube channel, where we answer your questions on the topics of electrical and life safety. Let's take a look at an example of how NFPA LiNK can help you access the information to get the job done right. I'm going to be talking about NFPA 855, the standard for the installation of stationary energy storage systems. We'll be looking at the second edition, which is the 2023 edition of NFPA 855. Since this is a relatively new standard, we often get questions around the scope of this document, so I wanted to take a moment to take a closer look to see exactly what's in and out of scope when it comes to NFPA 855. On my homepage, since I've added NFPA 855 to my favorites, it appears right here. If you haven't added it to your favorites, you would need to go to the View All Publications and find NFPA 855. Let's go ahead and open this up. I'll navigate to Chapter 1, where we can find the scope. 1.1 has the scope. So it has the standard applying to the design, construction, installation, commissioning, operation, maintenance, and decommissioning of stationary energy storage systems. That's a lot. And now when you look at that, you'll see a little bit of a parallel between that description and how the chapters are laid out in NFPA 855. For example, here we say commissioning, operation, maintenance, and decommissioning, and you'll notice that's Chapter 6, Chapter 7, Chapter 8, and so on. There's also a second part of the scope that says what it includes. It includes mobile and portable energy storage systems installed in a stationary situation, and the storage of lithium metal or lithium ion batteries. So that's kind of where it expands a little beyond energy storage system, the storage of lithium metal or lithium ion batteries. Now the purpose is pretty straightforward, but when you get down here to 1.3, and Table 1.3 in particular, you'll see that we have certain thresholds where different battery technologies need to meet before the requirements of NFPA 855 apply. It says this standard shall apply to ESS installations exceeding the values shown in Table 1.3, as well as the storage of lithium metal and lithium ion batteries. So to use this table, we'll take a look at the energy storage system technology. For example, let's go to lithium ion batteries of all types. So if we follow this, we'll see that we need an aggregate capacity of 20 kilowatt hours before that threshold kicks in and the requirements for NFPA 855 start to apply. Now if we continue down in section 1.3, we'll see that there are a couple specifics here about 1 and 2 family dwellings and townhouse units only need to comply with the requirements of Chapter 15. 1.3.3 gives an exemption for temporary mobile energy storage systems deployed at electric utility substations as long as they meet certain criteria. And then 1.3.4 states that the storage of lithium metal or lithium ion batteries shall only be required to comply with Chapter 14. Another important detail that I wanted to highlight can be found in the Annex section of 1.1. And it's that energy generation equipment, such as solar panels, wind turbines, or any other sort of generators, are not addressed by NFPA 855 and are instead addressed by NFPA 850, the recommended practice for fire protection for electric generating plants and high voltage direct current converter stations. And finally, I wanted to take a look at 2 definitions that will help us better define what the scope actually refers to. So let's go to Chapter 3 and go to 3.3.9. 3.3.9 is energy storage systems. So what exactly do we mean when we say energy storage systems? Here it says 1 or more devices assembled together capable of storing energy to supply electrical energy at a future time. There are many different types of energy storage systems, as listed below, and I believe the annex here also goes into those various types of energy storage systems that are meant to be encompassed by this definition. Another definition I wanted to point out is 3.3.24, the storage of batteries. So storage, keeping, or collecting of batteries for future use as needed or for disposal. This does not include batteries undergoing manufacturing or testing. So that's an important exemption from the storage of batteries. It does not include those batteries undergoing manufacturing or testing. Thanks for following along as we explored the scope of NFPA 855. For more information about how NFPA LiNK can make your job and life a little bit easier, please visit nfpa.org/link.